We have more information about frigates, which are only days away from setting sail in Skull and Bones with Year 2, Season 2. And we're going to go over all the information in this video regarding the frigates. Well, according to this blog from Ubisoft Singapore, so I'll have it linked below in the description section. First off, Skull and Bones on X. Large ships, frigates, firepower like never before. You've been waiting. Now it's time. Learn more with our dedicated dev blog. Alright, so here we go. Beautiful image of the frigate, the first large ship that we can own in Skull and Bones. Dev blog, large ships, quote unquote, for king and country we strike the foe. Sun shall not set where the lilies shall grow. To war, with banners unfurled. For Le Ferment shall rule the seas of the world. The battle hymn of Le Ferment, the royal frigate of the campaign Royale, the French. Greetings, captains. We're here with the first deep dive of the new content coming with Year 2, Season 2. We couldn't think of a better topic to start off with than the large ships. First, long-awaited large ship coming to Skull and Bones is the frigate. The frigate was an icon of the golden age of sail. First developed by France and later adopted by other naval powers, it was defined by its single continuous gun deck, fast, heavily armored, and built for long-range missions. It was the perfect balance of speed, firepower, and independence. Large ships have been one of the most requested features since launch. However, we wanted to take the time needed to introduce them at the right moment, ensuring that they could truly shine and fit meaningfully into the game experience. Our vision for large ships is for them to play in a complementary role where they don't replace the medium or small ships. With the introduction of Mythic Difficulties World Tier 2 and the new Megafort Faction War and many challenges ahead in Year 2, the time finally feels right. These massive encounters demand massive vessels, and the frigate is ready to meet the challenge. While working on the design, we wanted our frigate to represent freedom, exploration, and power, a fitting flagship for the captains in our game. To sail the frigate is to command a moving fortress, carving out your legend across the Indian Ocean. Visually, the frigate indeed is to feel huge, commanding, and elegant, a vessel worthy of awe, built in silhouette and presence. And the concept art for the frigate looks amazing. And as most of you know, the frigate's technically already in the game. You'll see it often being used by some of the elite captains as well as the privateers. But it is nice that we finally get our own frigate to sail around in. The frigate, our first large ship, sets sail. Under the shadow of the DMC campaign war, the campaign Royale unleashes the state-of-the-line frigate and the massive vessel brimming with advanced firepower, aiming to strike back at the Dutch and regain their megafort in the Red Isle. Rumors, however, swirl that the shadowy arms dealer is arming both sides of this faction war, which has allowed the vessel to be augmented with haste. As the faction war is truly unleashed across the Indian Ocean, captains will need all the firepower they can get. In response to the DMC's advanced takeover of the megafort in the Red Isle, the campaign developed the powerful frigate. While by hook or crook, pirates have unlocked the secrets of this new ship. Keep an eye out for an opportunity from Blackwood to unlock and master the frigate. Oh yeah, and the new pet is going to be baby hippos, because I guess there's a baby hippo craze now. And to be honest, I don't want to be anywhere near like a fully grown hippo. They're some of the most dangerous animals in the world. Well, next to humans, of course. But yeah, I'm not really feeling the hippos. Built to withstand the fiercest encounters, the frigate is a ship that excels in a robust defense and radiates a powerful aura that fortifies allies, embodying a tank role with unmatched resilience. With a higher number of gunports compared to smaller medium ships, the frigate can play a role of higher sustained fire when engaged in fights. Since the launch of Skull and Bones, we've been keeping an eye on the discussions you and other players have had regarding the frigate and other large ships. The frigate will be available in both World Tier 1 and World Tier 2. Its size, bulk, power comes at a cost, and learning how to position and play around with the limitations will be key to mastering its role. Let's look at what makes the frigate shine and what you need to keep in mind before setting sail. Where it shines, the dual auxiliary weapon. So we'll be able to have two auxiliary weapons instead of just one, and it looks like it's the same exact weapon. We wanted the frigate to stand out not just because of its size and number of gun ports, but also through deeper build crafting options. With the dual auxiliary system, you'll need to consider how it's fit to your overall build. Choosing the right weapon types for your playstyle and the battles you face will be key to mastering it. Equipping one auxiliary weapon on the frigate spawns 2 mirrored weapon stations. In other words, 2 mirrored weapon stations, one on each side, but only one can be fired at a time. It follows the same logic as broadside weapons. While you see multiple barrels, they're all part of the single weapon system. We believe that it gives a larger presence to the frigate and brings tactical benefits in siege or zone control scenarios without overpowering it. Grit perk. Grit is the backbone of the frigate's tank design. To reinforce the frigate's role as a durable flagship and frontline tank, we equipped the frigate with a unique perk called Grit, which rewards you for staying in the thick of the battle by increasing its own armor and reducing the incoming damage from nearby smaller ships. It absorbs damage. Frigate base Grit. Gain a stack of Grit when you take damage. Each stack of Grit increases the armor by 40 up to a maximum of 10 stacks. Each stack of Grit lasts 15 seconds. Allied extra small, small and medium ships within 200 meters will take 10% reduced damage. When you have 10 stacks of Grit, reduce 20% damage instead. Frigate upgraded Resolve. At 10 stacks of Grit, taking damage grants you Resolve. Resolve restores 10% brace strength on active and decreases status effect damage by 20% and increases threat generation by 100% for 10 seconds. The upgraded perk doubles down on the frigate's tank roll by boosting damage reduction for nearby allies. With no pill to you, letting you draw enemy fire and survive it, whether you're taking the hits or dishing them out, Grit turns you into a moving fortress and nearby allies will feel the difference. Okay, the base version of the frigate starts off at level 7, so I'm guessing it can fully upgrade to 15. And we'll see what else is there. It's a tank, we already know about that. This is the basic speed, the hull health, speed, weight limit. So let's see, it can carry, the base version can carry what, 80,000 pounds at start? I think that's 80,000. Yeah, so 80,000 pounds. It can have up to 5 weapons, which is basically the same as all the other ships, except for the fact that it has more gun ports on the sides, and it'll have 2 mirrored auxiliary weapons. 1 auxiliary equals 2, I guess, if you want to look at it that way. 1 armor, 5 furniture, and if you use Death Tides, then you can get an ultimate for it in Death Tides. It'll be interesting to see how the frigate works in Death Tides. Is anybody still playing Death Tides? Because I've tried to get into Death Tides, and it just seems like I'm just sitting there waiting for the lobby to fill up, and then after about 10 minutes or so, I just give up. I'm surprised we don't have more furniture slots for the frigate. Maybe when we fully upgrade it, because you can upgrade it 7 times. Maybe you can upgrade this to like maybe 6 out of 6 or 6 out of 6 furniture or weapons. That would be interesting. But we'll just have to wait and see when it comes to the benefits of fully upgrading the frigate. Gunports, with up to 34 gunports in total, depending on the weapon used on the broadsides. For example, if you're using the culverins, the frigate is equipped with 13 gunports per side, each given a strong offensive presence without tipping into the overpowered territory. Some of you may have noticed that the number is slightly different from what's shown in the Year 2 showcase. That's because during development we made the decision to shift the frigate's role from a DPS-focused ship to a frontline tank. While we still do have plans for a future DPS-dedicated large ship, we wanted the frigate, as our first large ship, to truly feel like a hulking flagship, one that could stand up to massive threats like a megafort, while supporting smaller ships in both PvE and PvP with its protective aura. Improved stability in the open seas. One of the benefits of the frigate's size is how stable it feels in the rough waters, especially during long-distance voyages or fights in the open sea. Smaller ships can get tossed around more, which is true, but thanks to its larger frame and design and being less affected by waves, the frigate offers greater stability, especially in rough waters. Whilst the frigate is an imposing and powerful vessel, it's not free from weaknesses. Of course, they have to balance it with some pros and cons. Strategy plays a key role. The weak points. To make the most out of the frigate's power, you'll need to play smart. With your great power comes more weak points. With the increased firepower offered by frigate support numbers, especially in Death Tides and PvP scenarios where drawbacks like slower river speed Yeah, I don't know if I would use the frigate in the rivers. I don't know if that's a good idea. I'd probably just keep it out in the open ocean. And if I had to go down into the rivers, I'd probably switch to a medium-sized ship. But that's just my plan. But when it comes to having minimum impact in the river speed, they needed something to offset its strength. In PvP battles, the frigate takes 30% more damage when it's hit on its weak points. But as with all ships, it does not receive weak point damage from AI enemies. Although these weak points are more numerous and take more damage than other ships, the frigate also has a massively more hull health than other ships that make up for it. We wanted the frigate to feel powerful but not untouchable, rewarding captains who take position well and hold the line. I can understand this for PvP. If you rolled into Death Tides with a frigate, then it would be even more difficult for the enemy team to sink you. If you happen to have a frigate, or the other team had at least one frigate, or maybe everybody has a frigate. So I get this for Death Tides, and I'm glad that it's going to be a little bit different when it comes to the AI enemies. Acceleration. One of the natural drawbacks of sailing ships of its size is its slower maneuverability, especially when it comes to acceleration, turn acceleration. While the frigate's top turning speed is comparable to other ships, it takes longer to ramp up its speed. Timing and positioning becomes key. River navigation. The frigate can sail into rivers, but its large frame and slower turning acceleration make it harder to maneuver through the tight curves and narrow channels. You can bring it into the rivers, but you'll feel the difference as the frigate isn't designed for narrow escapes. It's built for dominant in the open seas. While the rivers and shallows, the frigate's sail speed is reduced by 30%. In deeper waters, where there's more room to maneuver, the frigate can truly shine to its full potential, which is what I was talking about a moment ago. I don't really like the idea of taking the frigate into the rivers of the game, unless there's just somewhere you want to go into the game, like into like one of the lakes and hit one of the settlements or forts. Then it would make sense. But if I'm just sailing around and I just want to go into the rivers just to sail around, I think I'd rather switch to one of my medium-sized ships instead and leave the open ocean to the frigate. Weapon firing dead angles. The frigate's sheer size brings serious firepower, but not without trade-offs to keep it balanced. One of them is dead angle in the rear quadrants, which weapons can't cover. This means enemies approaching from behind might find an opening if you're not positioned well, which also encourages captains to master their positioning tactics. Dead zone in rear quadrants is set for Year 2 Season 2. We'll be keeping a close eye on how this experience plays out for you in our community. As always, your feedback will be key to shaping what's next. Crafting the frigate. Large ships require more resources to craft and upgrade. You'll also find that when it comes to repairing your frigate, you may need to use currencies other than silver. Okay, time out. I do not like this idea at all. I understand the price tag being higher when it comes to silver compared to the damage done to your medium or small ships. But you're going to add yet another currency for us in the game? Because we have sovereigns, we have silver, we have the pieces of 8, we have the seasonal currency. There's too many currencies. In other words, I don't like the idea of using currencies other than silver. Just, I guess double the amount that it costs to repair a frigate with silver than it does with the medium and the small ships, and then call it a day. To cement the role of the frigate as a tank with superior hull, you also need to acquire deep iron to upgrade your frigate to level 4, deep iron plates to upgrade your frigate to level 7, and deep iron can be acquired from Blackwood with the guild marks and megaforts. You'll need to refine deep iron to acquire deep iron plates, and once Faction Wars launches, you'll also be able to obtain it from the Pirate Ledger. Throughout Season 2, you'll be able to acquire the frigate blueprint throughout the Season Pass, the Smuggler's Pass. As with the new ship blueprints, you'll need to spend 45 Smuggler marks in the Season Pass. Why are they calling it the Season Pass? Isn't it the Smuggler's Pass? Or is the Season Pass the free version? Maybe. But it's the same way that it's been for like the past several seasons. You have to, I guess, reach 45 Smuggler marks in order to unlock the blueprint for the frigate. So I don't know what they were talking about earlier in the blog. Keep an eye out for an opportunity from Blackwood to unlock and master the frigate. It just seems like it's exactly the same. So you're not going to be able to acquire the frigate blueprint day 1. So it's going to take you and me a quick minute to grind through the Smuggler's Pass before we can finally get the frigate blueprint. Once you've acquired the frigate blueprint, you'll automatically unlock and start the frigate infamy quest. This quest is certainly one you'll want to pay attention to, as it'll reward you with some of the materials needed to craft the frigate. Large ships and the future, coming as part of the balance changes with the launch of Year 2 Season 2. Debuff applying only to death tides will affect the frigate's damage and healing outputs. During the development of large ships, we paid close attention to the conversation happening across the community. Our goal is always to build Skull and Bones with you and for you. Some of the features coming with the frigate in Year 2 Season 2, its ability to support allies like a true flagship, echo ideas shared by players in the past. We're excited to see these ideas reflected in features like Grit Perk, which sits at the heart of the frigate design. Another idea mentioned by the community was that large ships shouldn't be able to navigate most rivers. That was my idea as well. I don't know, it doesn't really make sense, but then again, video games, while you can bring the frigate into rivers, it comes with clear drawbacks, reflecting the natural limitations of larger ships. We listened to your feedback about implementations, especially when it comes to maneuverability and the impact on current game dynamics, and these were taken into consideration during development. Following the launch of the frigate, we'll continue to closely monitor its performance and make additional adjustments if needed. Please share your thoughts and feedback on the frigate. Doing so helps us understand your experience and helps shape improvements and changes. The frigate is just the start of more large ships coming to Skull and Bones. We have at least one large ship coming later this year in the winter, probably around December, with the Corsair. I think that's probably going to be the DPS large ship. It also is going to come with its own dhow that we can like embark and debark off of. Even though we already have a dhow, it is kind of cool to have that as an option. So if you like sail the Corsair near a hunting area for like alligators, hippos, sharks, you don't have to go all the way back to like the nearest, I guess, spawn point or port or den in order to switch to a dhow. While the frigate fills the role of a tank, future large ships may lean into different roles. And trust us, you'll want one ready for what's hiding in the depths of the Indian Ocean. Yeah, that's going to be the Kraken, also coming later this year. Article linked below in the description section. Like most of you, I'm excited for the frigate finally coming to Skull and Bones, our first large ship, but it's going to take probably a quick minute for a lot of us to grind through the Smuggler's Pass to get to, I guess, 45 in order to get the blueprints. And then we have to go on an infinity quest and then acquire the materials like the deep iron. Are we going to be able to take like iron and then convert it to deep iron? Because I got like tons of iron back at the warehouse. That would be nice if that was the case. But yeah, it's going to require unique materials. And I don't like the idea of us having to use currencies other than silver in order to repair the frigate. Is it going to cost sovereigns? Is it going to cost seasonal currency? Is it going to cost pieces of 8 or a brand new currency? Because like I said, we already have enough currencies as it is. I just think that the silver price for repairs should just simply be doubled when it comes to the frigate. But we'll be checking out Year 2 Season 2 coming up on Tuesday whenever I stream it, probably around 12 p.m. Central, 6 p.m. UK. And I might even do a Sunday Skull and Bones stream as well. Yeah, just get us a little bit more excited about Year 2 Season 2. But don't expect me to get the frigate on day one. Maybe there'll be a mission similar to previous missions where we'll get to try out the frigate. That would be amazing. So hopefully at least we'll be able to do that coming up on Tuesday. But I feel like it's going to take me at least maybe a week or two in order to get to at least level 45 in the hopes of getting the frigate. So it'll take me a quick minute. Maybe others that are no-lifers can do it in like 2 or 3 days. But, you know, I do have a life. Are you excited for the frigate? And how long do you think it's going to take for you to get the frigate and Skull and Bones? Your thoughts, views, and opinions, welcome, as always, below in the comments section.